Yo, what is up, guys? A-Lining here, back with another video. And in today's video, you guys already know, you've seen the title of the video. We are going to be reviewing Coolie, the newest Rajini movie that just came out in the theaters. And yeah, it's going to be a no spoilers review, so you guys don't have to worry if you haven't seen the movie. But anyways, let's get right into this review. So let's start off with the good because there's not that much good. I like to start off with what there isn't much of. So, yeah, based off what I've already said, you guys can already tell I did not like the movie. In my opinion, this was probably Lokesh's weakest movie. And I thought Master was pretty bad, but I think this is worse than that. So, let's start off with the good. The background music, Anirudh always does a good job, and there was no exception here. He did a great job once again. Uh, Obviously Rajani, you got to give him credit. He's pushing 80 and he's still dominating. He's pushing 80 and he's still dominating. Um, I don't know who I think this guy's name is Shobin, the little bald dude. He was actually the highlight of the entire movie because he has so much energy. He had his dancing. He dances with a lot of energy. He acts with a lot of energy. In my opinion, he was the best villain in the movie. So yeah, he was a major plus in this movie, and without him, this movie would be even worse than it already is. But other than that, hey, one more thing: the interval block was fire. You know, I'm not gonna explain what the interval block was, but the way it was done that got me hyped up for the second half, just for the second half to also be trash. Now let's get into the bad because there is plenty of bad to go around in this movie. Now, I'm not trying to bash any of these actors. I'm not trying to bash the writer because I'm actually a huge Lokesh fan. So it actually pains me to say this because I had very high expectations for this movie. This looks like some middle school writing. Like, are we serious right now? I want to explain what was wrong with the movie without giving away too much, but the writing seemed so simple. There was just too many things that Lokesh added into the movie for plot convenience, right? This is going to be a minor spoiler, so you guys can skip like 20 to 30 seconds ahead. The entire electric chair, as being the reason why to propel the story, that just made zero sense whatsoever. But hey, I guess they had to use it because they were killing people on the street throughout the movie, and they didn't seem to care. Obviously, there was just way too many plot holes and or not plot holes, unrealism in terms of the action. Like, trust me, I do not care about unrealistic action, but it gets to a point when, for example, Rajani is our hero. Nobody poses a threat to him. Literally, not even the main villain. Nobody poses a threat to him. And I just can't stomach movies where there's just no threat being posed to our protagonist, right? There's got to be some type of threat being posed to our protagonist. Um, to be honest, it didn't feel like a Lokesh movie. The movie went by very slow. They were on the phone every like 3 minutes. Every other scene, there was about 2 to 3 phone calls being made. And over here we got Nagarjuna, who's supposed to be the main antagonist. He was in the movie for a solid 20 minutes, and I know he's a pretty big actor in Telugu industry. Like they should have utilized him better. And I think this is back-to-back movies where Lokesh has utilized our his villain in a pretty poor manner. I think in Leo, villain wasn't utilized too well either. But in this case, yeah, our villain was not utilized at all. And it's really tough to make a good thriller action movie when your villain is just he's just not menacing or he poses zero threat to our protagonist. And I hope that in his next movie Lokesh comes back to making a more quick paced script. I don't want too many plot conveniences. I don't want things that are just there to move the plot along, right? Um, I want something like Kaidi. Kaidi was a perfect movie. One of my favorite locations. Actually, it is my favorite location movie. I think. I mean, I might have to do a rankings video, but off the top of my head, it's my favorite location movie. I want something like that, something quick paced, something fast. And I know it's kind of difficult to do because you have to have all these elevation scenes for your hero, but it's really difficult to follow a movie when it's slow paced. You know, there's really no threat being posed to your protagonist. There's just illogical fight scenes just throughout the movie. There's like 50 different guys coming from all directions, just slashing on them. Um, and trust me, I actually give so much grace to illogical fight scenes because some of my favorite movies have the most illogical fight scenes. So, but it gets to a point where enough's enough. And to be honest, he could have killed this Simon dude in about 20 minutes. Like, I don't even know why we had a 3 hour movie. Like, me and my dad walked out of this movie and we're like, this Simon dude, he's a weak villain. And it's not because of the acting, it's because of the writing. And I was sitting there in the theater like, man, this got to be some of the weakest writing I've seen from Location a Minute because they were not able to portray this villain in a menacing way that poses a threat to the protagonist. And Rajani always had some kind of solution for everything. And I'm not gonna lie, the amount of plot conveniences that just he just pulled from nowhere was just insane. So if you guys are thinking about watching this movie, unless you're a diehard Rajani fan, because there's a lot of moments where if you're a Rajani fan, it's definitely worth going to the theaters. But unless you're a diehard Rajani fan, and wait for this to release in OTT, and I still wouldn't even watch. Nah, I'm just playing. Yeah, just wait for it to release in OTT. It's not as bad as War Two. It's not as bad as I'm trying to think of. Honestly, I'd say it's on the same level as like Goat. It's on the same level as like yeah, it's probably on the same level as Goat. It's not a terrible movie, but there's just not a lot going for it. And for Lokesh, I think him being one of the better writers in the Indian film industry, this is definitely a major letdown. So if you guys are a fan of Rajani or a fan of this movie, no disrespect to you guys, but this movie wasn't it. I would not recommend going to the theaters to watch this movie, but that's just my opinion. You guys can go check it out for yourselves, or you can wait for it to come out on OTT and watch it. Yeah, and that's it for the movie review.